Hi, I'm back again to talk about a book that I read recently, and let's jump to the video straight away. The book that I read recently is Norwegian Wood by Murakami, and this is my second book by Murakami. The first book that I read was Sputnik Sweetheart. I like that book also, and this one too. And let's talk about the writing first. I think the writing was beautiful. It was easy to understand and it was descriptive. Everything that was written to, to tell you about the human emotions, how a person is feeling, whether it's loneliness, whether it's happiness, whether it's feeling frustrated. It's all depicted so beautifully, and the whole description of it in terms of weather, in terms of how the weather is changing, how the trees are moving, about the flowers blooming. It's so beautifully written. I rarely read these descriptions in any book. It's just some of the books that make me read every description that is written in terms of weather or in terms of the surroundings or environment. So this was one of the books. The other book that I can remember right now is 40 Rules of Love. So in terms of the ripples in the lake, when you throw a stone and then there are ripples, how it has been related to the turbulence inside the human, and how it fades away as the ripple goes out. So it's so beautifully written in this book also. I read every description and I might have highlighted some from the book. So writing is very beautiful, and it's something like the way loneliness, the way every emotion actually has been written. It's written to make you actually feel it. I have not seen, except some books, I have not seen it written so well and so hard hittingly. So you can say that it was beautiful, and in the same way it make you feel the loneliness, the sadness and the gloominess around the character. It makes you feel that, it makes you feel all of that. So it was very beautiful. The story is about before I jump to the story, it talks about suicide, it talks about depression. So there are so many things that are covered in this book, and it might be triggering to some of the people. So before you decide to read this book, I would suggest that you do some research, and if you find that there are things that might trigger you, then you know what you should be doing. So this book is about this guy whose name is Toru, and now he is 37 years old. He's traveling somewhere, and suddenly, while the plane lands, he is struck by this memory when he was 17 years old, and he was in love with this girl whose name is Nako. I think I'm pronouncing the name right, because it's just something with the names that I don't know if I'm pronouncing them right or not, but yeah, the girl's name is Nako. She's also of the same age, or maybe just a year older than Toru. The guy's name is Toru. So it's a very tragic story, because Toru was friends to Kizuki, and Kizuki was boyfriend of Nako, and Kizuki took his life because he was, he was not mentally well, and that death of Kizuki, how it changed the life of Nako and Toru. So it's all about that. Kizuki and Nako knew each other since childhood, and that's how they were inseparable. They grew up together, they knew each other so well, they shared a bond, and it was an unsaid thing that they belonged together. They really loved each other and they were a couple. So they never talked about it, but it was something like they were inseparable. So the death of Kizuki, Nako took it very hard, and she ends up somewhere, in mountains, where she was being treated for her mental well-being. So meanwhile, Toru was here in college. He was also going through the same thing, but somehow he was able to manage everything. He was also, he was also dealing with the death of his best friend, and he really bonded well with him. They were both best friends, and he also did not take it well, but somehow he was managing his life. He went to college, he completed his graduation, then started his job. But doing all these things, whatever happened to him, the whole character development, it's very well written. Whatever he goes through, how it changes his perception about life. He used to be so optimistic, he would make plans according to certain things he thinks that will go well. But at some point he comes to terms with the things that not everything is going to go well, not everything is going to go according to his plan. And then it struck him that, everything that you are planning out cannot go in the way you want. And then that's life is unfair. So it's all about that. It's very beautiful story. Meanwhile, he also meets this girl, Midori. He falls in love with her, and the confusion and the guilt that comes with it, it's very beautiful. And I really enjoyed reading this book, probably one of my favorite books this year. And the only thing that I didn't like about this book is, in the end, the character didn't act the way they were supposed to. So there is this huge character development there. You get to know Toru so well. Then there is this character who is introduced in the middle of the book, and that character has also been explored so well. It's so beautifully written. But the way they do certain things in the end, while the whole story is about to end, it was just unexpected. I was not expecting that to happen, and it was weird. The best way to describe is that it was weird, it was bizarre. So I don't know, I still don't know how to, what is the explanation behind their behavior. So that was the one thing that I did not understand, but I liked the story. And then I have read only two books, so I think it's too early to say certain things that I found to be similar in both the novels, because I think I would want to read one or two more books to see if that's the thing in other novels too. But the things that I noticed is that the whole story is being narrated from a male's perspective. So in Sputnik Sweetheart, it is being narrated by Kay, who is a best friend to Sumir. And here also it is being narrated from male's perspective, Toru's perspective, who is in love with Nako. And there also is this character is introduced in the middle, not in the middle, I mean she was there from the beginning also in Sputnik Sweetheart. But whatever her story was, was told in between, in the middle of some chapter. And the whole story was very nicely written. That is where the magical realism part was in Sputnik Sweetheart. Here also, this character who was introduced in the middle, a whole chapter has been written to describe her story. The other thing that I noticed is that both the books are based on similar themes like existentialism, depression, loneliness, and dealing with loss. So yeah, these were the things that I found to be similar in both the novels. And there was one character in this book, Norwegian word Midori, and her father, and her relationship with her father and the whole family dynamics. I really like that part also. What happens to her father, it felt sad, but the whole thing about her family, the whole dynamics, I really enjoyed reading that. And it was sad too, but yeah, very beautifully written. So yeah, I love this book. I really love this book, and I highly recommend it. And I now understand why so many people love this book. despite some of the things that I did not understand. But yeah, I would highly recommend to read this one. And I bought this book from book fair, and with this one I also bought certain other books. If you want to check out that video about the books that I bought from the book fair, there is a whole video about that, the whole book haul. So you can just follow the link. I will put the link somewhere here, or maybe in the description below. If you want to check out that video, you can just follow the link. And yeah, that was the video. If you like the video, please like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you have not already subscribed, and maybe comment what you liked about the video. Yeah, so bye bye, we'll see you in the next video then.